Hey, thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about a couple California hometown destinations today. So we're just going to jump right in. So, first question is we're going to share what place we're sharing and either how many times we've been there or why we feel like this is a place we want to share today on California hometown destinations. So, I'm going to start with Erica.
Tell me again. I'm so sorry.
It's
What were your questions?
okay. Tell us the
It's off to a good
destination.
start.
Tell us the destination you're going to share and why you feel it's kind of a hometown place for you. If you've
Mm.
been there often or lived
Oh,
there.
yes. Yes. Okay. So Three Rivers, California. It's actually its nickname is the Gateway to Sequoia National Park, and it is my hometown vacation spot. I grew up outside of Los Angeles, and my uncle had property on the Kaweah River, and every summer we went there multiple times and just swimming in the Kaweah River and just enjoying the lazy summer days, sprawled out on those gorgeous granite rocks, and every once in a while actually going into the park as well.
Nice. That's great. Kathy.
I actually was born in San Diego. I'm one of those rarities. Most people that live in San Diego are from someplace else. So I'm going to talk about San Diego.
Wonderful. And I'm going to talk about Morro Bay on the central California coast today. It's a place I lived in the California for, gosh, more years than I care to admit. But Morro Bay is a place I try to go to 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times a year, different times. And just, I love it there. If I could afford to live in Morro Bay, I think that's where I would choose to live at least part of the year. So the first question let's check in with is how long do you think people could go to this destination and spend time there? Erica.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I love to embrace slow travel, so stay for a month, stay for a few months if you actually are in a place where you can work remotely. Three Rivers is a really great place to dwell, especially if let's say you are working. You are surrounded by mountains and nature and river and so many beautiful hikes and everything. So imagine kind of ending your day, stepping outside of the office and going and playing. In general, growing up, we did 3-day weekends. So, I mean, I say that with that caveat. But
Yeah,
even in 3-day weekends, there's plenty to do for a
great.
quick trip.
And what would you say is the closest airport for people trying to get to Three
The
Rivers?
closest airport is Fresno, Fresno International. Um, it's about an hour and a half. If that ends up being too pricey, all the other options like LAX, San Jose, Sacramento, San Francisco, all of those are about a 4-hour drive. So it really depends on whether you're dealing with budget or yeah, convenience.
Nice. Kathy.
I think a minimum of a week is a good plan for San Diego to get to see the best sites in town. 10 days would be even better, but a lot of people only have a week available to them. So you can fill up a week completely with all the things there are to do here.
And San Diego, I believe, does have an airport right there, right?
Right. I mean, we're famous for our airport that is almost downtown, and when you land, you're at the same level as the skyscrapers and almost looking into people's bedrooms.
Oh, wow.
Pilots don't like landing here.
Oh, and how far from LAX? Just if that was a more affordable destination to fly
Well,
into.
LAX is 2 to 2.5 hours or 4 hours, depending on what time of day you drive it. And there isn't any good public transportation between the two. There's no shuttle services. The train is not reliable, and you have to take a bus into downtown Los Angeles from LAX to get on the train. trying to get a commuter flight between LAX and San Diego is very expensive. So it's much better to get a flight directly into San Diego.
Yeah, good to know. And for Morro Bay, it's on the central coast. I kind of echo Erica's thoughts that if you could stay and work there remotely, if there was like if it was affordable, I mean, you're right there on the ocean. It's a cute little town. You're not far from San Luis Obispo. North of Morro Bay is San Simeon and Cambria and Hearst Castle. So again, you can just immerse yourself in long walks, renting a bicycle, just getting out of that working at a computer if you could do that. And the weather is generally, except for the heavy rains that they've been experiencing this year, which is kind of an anomaly, the weather is pretty mild all year round. So it's conducive to being there almost any time of year. The trick is probably getting there because of where it's located. Santa Barbara is, I think, like a 2-hour drive the last time I flew into Santa Barbara. LAX, again, it depends on once you can get out of LAX and get over to the coast via either, you could jet up the 5 and cut over. I like to take the coastal route, which is a little bit slower and passes you through all the beach towns, but probably a good 4 hours from the northern edge. I used to live on the northern edge of Los Angeles, so it was about 4 hours from there, like Ventura area. Otherwise, I think about the same distance. If you flew into San Francisco, Fresno might be a good alternative to get over to Morro Bay. It's probably more central, but again, it depends on price. Some of these smaller airports, they are more expensive to get in and out of. And there's not, as both Kathy and Erica know, not a lot of public shuttles from some of these larger airports to some of these other towns. So why don't we give some suggestions for people on where they might stay if they visit these places, Erica?
Yeah, so Three Rivers is a very small village, a very small mountain village. Let's compare it, for example, with Oakhurst. Oakhurst is one of those big places where people will stay if they're going to visit Yosemite National Park, which, by the way, if you are visiting Sequoia, Yosemite is a great complimentary space to go to. So Oakhurst is quite a bustling town, mountain town, especially when there are tourists coming through. So there's lots of lodging options. But in Three Rivers, it's still, I mean, I'll tell you what, it's one school for kindergarten through graduating from high school. It's still a tiny, tiny little village. It's very locked by mountains and the river and everything. So I would recommend Sequoia Pacific Holiday Homes. Those are actually managed by a friend of mine in the town, and she does an exceptional job. And they're just, every one of them is beautifully decorated and high standards of cleanliness. And so those are Airbnbs, or vacation rental properties. Vacation rental properties is definitely the way to go. There is one major hotel, I think it's a Holiday Inn, I mean, motel, roadside motel. And then there are some smaller, motor inns. Oh gosh, okay, I know I'm going to think of the other one. There is one hotel that has come under new ownership in the last few years, and they're doing a beautiful job with it. And they even they've got an indoor yoga studio. So let me think about that and I'll get back to you.
Right, or we can always
anything
include
else,
it. Yeah, we can put it in the show notes later so
yes,
people can
perfect.
access it
Yes.
there. Because I
I
think
will
I'll have to
definitely
do.
let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
for sure. Yep.
Perfect. Kathy, and I know since you live there, you don't really stay, but there's probably maybe an area that you would recommend if it's a first time person's visitor to San Diego, or
I recommend staying in Mission Valley because there's tons of hotels. In fact, there's this area called Hotel Circle. There are motels, hotels, all the major chains, some that are not part of chains that are on the smaller side, more like motels. As opposed to staying downtown. Now, one of the major reasons to not stay downtown is traffic, number one, and there aren't any hotels that have free parking.
Oh,
So you really need a car if you're going to visit San Diego because our public transportation is not very good. There's some places that you can get on public transportation easily, like Old Town and the Gaslamp Quarter, but and Mission Valley. But the trolley, which is our light rail system, it doesn't go to the zoo, it doesn't go to the beach, it doesn't go to the airport.
wow.
So that can be a problem. So there's all price ranges in Mission Valley, and you're right on one of the major freeways there. So it's easy to get on a freeway and get to the beach or drive north to the safari park or, go to the zoo, or you can alternatively leave your car at where you're staying and get on the trolley and go downtown. Whenever I go downtown, like to Petco Park for baseball or to eat in the Little Italy area or the Gaslamp Quarter, I try to take the trolley because parking is very expensive downtown and hard to find.
Oh, good to know. That's a good tip. Yeah, for
April,
more. Oh,
I
go
do have
ahead.
the name of the other one. It's Buckeye Tree Lodge and Cabins.
Ooh,
And they
Buckeye
provide up
tree.
to 3-bedroom cabins, I think, and also just very simple hotel rooms. This is kind of it's quite an old property there, but it's going through really loving renovations right now. So I think there's going to be good future for that one. And for Sequoia Pacific Holiday Homes, she has anything from like a 1-bedroom, cute little apartment to, we actually partner with her for our Rhythms of Nature teen and family retreat. And we have a 20-person yoga property on the river. So, the spectrum is very big.
Oh, that's excellent. Thanks for sharing that, Erica. And we'll also put these in the show notes too, so that people can
Perfect.
find these. Yeah. Morro Bay, being that it's right on the coast and it's still kind of a little bit of an old school beach town, which I love. There are so many places to stay in Morro Bay. So a couple of them that I like is there's one called 456 Embarcadero Inn. It's a multi-story, so you do have parking under on the lower level, and it has elevators for people if you have like a multi-generational trip. But then you have balconies that literally just look over the Morro Bay, and you're walking distance to the shops, you're walking distance to the restaurants, you're walking distance to the little cove where the otters and the sea life hang out. The other direction, you can walk down to the estuary where the birds are at various times of the year. I mean, it's just really lovely. I mean, I could just sit on the balcony and just, do your work there if you could. But there's also lots of mom and pop hotels in Morro Bay that, as Erica's mentioned, they're renovating, they're clean, they've got hardwood floors. Just read the descriptions, look at the prices. I know there's lots of different price points, and then there's a few Airbnbs as well. Last year I stayed at an Airbnb and it wasn't walking distance to the water, so that, again, look at your map, kind of ask questions, because we were on the opposite side of the freeway, so we did have to get in our car to go to the shops, go to the restaurants, get down to the water. But we did have a full kitchen. We had a place, a gathering place if you have friends or family. We had a little garage that we could have parked one very small car, not an SUV, but we had laundry facilities if needed. So, that would be an option maybe if you have children and you want to stay for a little bit longer. It priced out a little bit less, but some of these places are pricing out with the cleaning fees and sometimes the other fees they have about the same as the hotel motels. So really just do your homework and ask. I mean, some of the Airbnb owners, I've literally just sent them a message and said, hey, you know what? I could stay at your place or I can go into town and get the same price. Can you work with me? Especially if it's an off season, when they may not have as many people coming. They would probably like to have that money in their pocket. So it's worth asking, and they might give you a reduction in cost. Don't always
Yep.
assume the published price is what you have to pay. I think a lot of times we get into that rut. We're so used to just going on the computer and just booking it instead of actually picking up the phone or sending an email and talking to a real person and just seeing if there's leeway there for them to make some adjustments if it's, if it's possible. You never know unless
Yeah,
you ask.
I
So let's talk
totally agree
about
with that. That's what I do too.
let's talk a little bit about food. We all enjoy food when we travel. What would you say for food for Three Rivers? Is it really outdoorsy and people should bring their own food, or what would you say about
Uh,
food?
sure. Yeah, absolutely both. If you want to, save a buck and just bring picnic supplies, absolutely. There's always places to eat. But the prices are really quite reasonable for places to eat here. I swear it's like going back in time. This is like my family started coming here when they emigrated from England. This was our first vacation spot. I have beautiful pictures of my grandparents, my grandmother in this cute bikini standing on Slick Rock, Slicky is what they call it. Um, so there's kind of that nostalgia in this place, right? It's like a place frozen in time, and it really does feel like going back to mid-century. Um, so there is a fabulous Mexican restaurant and pizzeria that have been there since the beginning of time. Totally recommend them. You can't miss them. There is one highway that goes through, and I can't believe I don't know the names of these two restaurants. I
It's
just go to them
okay.
all the time. But they're near the main little grocery store, which little is the key word for that. Um, and then also we have come to love Three Rivers Brewing Company. They do an
Oh,
excellent michelada, which is a Mexican style beer with tomato juice. Sounds incredibly weird, but it's delicious. And they have a papusa truck that comes and serves food there. And then just outside of there, there's a really fabulous icy vendor. I don't know if icy is the right word, but he's amazing. I got like his life story last time I was there. He he has an all natural menu and then the
wow.
typical menu, right? So he actually purees. He buys mangoes in bulk and purees them and freezes them in season and uses those for his mango one, and it's amazing. And
Wow.
little tip for adult beverages, go grab one of those ices and pour a shot of vodka or rum in. Delicious.
Oh, I love that, Erica. That's great. It sounds like it's such a fabulous place. I love that we're doing this today.
I know, it's
Kathy,
fun.
there's so much to eat in San Diego. Where do you even start, Kathy?
San Diego San Diego is a huge city. It's the seventh largest city in the United States. So whatever you are interested in eating, you can find here. We have um, excellent Mexican food. We have lots of seafood. We have there's an area called Convoy Street that it specializes in Southeast Asian foods, and there is restaurant after restaurant after restaurant that is Chinese or Vietnamese or Laotian or Thai. Um, you could not eat at enough places on Convoy Street for my taste. If you like pho or those kinds of things, you can go online and find the best places for pho in San Diego. If you want to go to a place with a view, I recommend the fish market, which is down in the marina area, or Pio's, which is an upscale restaurant in Coronado. I like Island Prime also, which is on Harbor Island near the airport, because they all have views of the bay and you can see the boats coming in and out. But one thing you have to do when you come to San Diego is you have to have a Rubio's fish taco. And that's a fast food place They have other things than fish tacos, but their fish tacos are what started them back in the early 80s. And their locations are all over San Diego. I mean, every place you go, you see a Rubio's.
Kathy,
Nice.
you are making me so
I know,
hungry.
I know. I know, it's like that's what I'm thinking. It's like noonish here on the West Coast. We're talking about California and food, but oh, that's fabulous. We'll have to put a few of these details in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I have another restaurant to give you in the notes too. I can't believe I didn't think of them.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
know. We're
Go
getting to
on.
the end of the hour, so I'll
Yes.
just share a few tips on Morro Bay. There's a lot of seafood restaurants, the tacos, chowder. I mean, and literally look for the restaurants where they're getting their catch that day and then serving it. There's a place that's right down on the main, you've got the water and the bay, and there's a little street there with all the shops and restaurants. They literally have their clam chowder, their different chowders they're making, and you can see the steam coming up, and you can walk in and choose your fish or, and have it prepared many different ways. There's fancier sit down places with windows that look right out onto the bay. There's one on the end that's more casual that I like that has little tables out there, and you can, if you have travel with your dog, you can sit out there and just get there at sunset, sunrise, sit out there and enjoy the view and have some food. And yeah, you can really go high end or even just really simple, get some fish tacos and a couple drinks and enjoy it. I mean, I think all of these places have a lot to offer. So I hate to wrap this up. This has been great. We're going to share where to find you, Erica, if you have a website, if people want to reach out
Yep.
to you.
I'm the owner of Return Refreshed. It's a wellness tour provider, small groups only, up to 20 people. And you can find us at returnrefreshed.org. That's ED after the refresh, returnrefreshed.org.
Perfect. And Kathy,
I don't have a website or anything. I'm just a member of the Travel Collective.
oh, we love that. And that's why we appreciate this. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your love of San Diego. And Kathy often joins on our monthly coffee chats and she comments in the groups. But if you've got questions about San Diego, definitely find her in the Facebook, the Travel Collective group, and she'll be able to give you some great tips. She enjoys traveling all over the world, not just San Diego. And she has great tips on where to eat, where to stay. San Diego's full of things to do. And I'm April. I do small group photography tours, both in California and throughout the United States. And my website is yourphototravelguide.com. So thank you all so much, ladies. This is a lot of fun. We'll have to do this
This
again.
is a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.